America is home to some of the most iconic cars ever made. We have everything from muscle car royalty like the Dodge Challenger and Chevy Camaro to racing legends like the Ford GT40. The world even has us to thank for Tesla. That might not be totally iconic or legendary, but Elon's tweets are. I guess you get my point. There are a ton of awesome cars made right here in the good old USA. But it's like everything. It's the ones that you can't have are the ones that you want the most. And thanks to a bunch of safety and emission laws, there are a lot of awesome cars that never made the trip from Asia or Europe. Although some people did try to do it illegally and got busted. So on today's ideal list, we're gonna show you 8 of the best rides that were banned here in the US. Have you recently found yourself doing a bunch more online shopping? Yeah, me too. And that's where today's sponsor, Honey, is something you need to be using. It's the free internet browser extension and really is my online savings sidekick. And it automatically scours the internet for promotional codes to give you some discounts wherever you shop. It already works for the things that you already buy. And it's so easy to install, just 2 clicks, you'll be ready to be using it on your favorite websites. So, how easy is it to use? Well, it just pops up at checkout and asks you to apply coupons. And guys, it really is that simple to start saving money. Like magic, it starts searching for coupon codes automatically and works on all types of websites. All you gotta do is hit accept and it's gonna save you money. Everything from auto parts stores, websites, gaming websites, tech websites, literally everything. So if you have a computer, Honey needs to be on it. Just go to joinhoney.com/idealmedia. That's joinhoney.com/idealmedia. And be sure to download it because it's on every computer here at Ideal. And thank you, Honey, for sponsoring today's video. Now, our first forbidden fruit is a 650 horsepower V8 supercar from a company that most people have never even heard of. We're talking about the noble and the incredible M600. The M600 hit the road in 2010 as Britain's answer to all the mid-engine supercars that were coming out of Italy. And they were literally flying out of Italy like there was no tomorrow. And even though the 4.4 liter V8 was the same one that was used in the Volvo XC90, Noble's version added 2 massive turbos bigger than your head, which meant it could keep up with pretty much any Lambo or Ferrari at the time. So, you may be wondering, why you couldn't have a 650 horsepower rear-wheel drive monster here in the US? Well, the M600 didn't meet American safety standards. It was deemed too dangerous for us Americans. And given the fact that it doesn't even have ABS, I can kinda see why. Although, that's exactly why Trav loves the Gen 1 Viper. Right, Trav? But you know, we'd love to take one for a drive. Now, if you want something that will get just as much attention as the Noble, but you don't want a roof, windshield, or doors, then the smart Crossblade is for you. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you combined an aerial Atom with one of those tiny microcars that you can stop sideways in a parking space? No? Well, neither have I. It seems that someone working at Smart did back in 2002, and the result was the Crossblade. Just 2,000 of these open-top city cars were ever made, with none ever officially sold in the US. And I'd say we are missing out. I mean, who doesn't want a Brabus tuned rear-wheel drive car for Corolla money? And don't let the Brabus name fool ya. That 600cc inline 3 is still good for only 70 horses. There is actually one Crossblade that managed to make its way stateside by acquiring a federal replacement VIN and claiming that it was substantially similar to the regular Smarts that were sold here. But if that 70 horsepower Smart couldn't meet safety requirements, our next car didn't stand a chance. The Jaguar XJ220 was the fastest street car ever when it was released, and the S model took things up another level, upping the power from 500 to a massive 690 horsepower. And you could think of it as sort of an XJ220 GT3 RS, with more power, more downforce, and less weight. making this a true race car for the street. And that was no coincidence, ladies and gentlemen, because this car was only built to homologate the racing version of the XJ220. And only 6 of these super rare cats were ever built, and none offered to the American market. Something that isn't quite as rare, but arguably just as cool, is the Fiat 500 Abarth. You know, hot hatches are some of the most fun cars around, and Abarth really knows how to get big smiles from a small car. The Abarth 500 did eventually make its way to the US, but the first gen with the 5-speed manual transmission and 135 ponies under the hood that were only driving the front wheels never made it across the Atlantic. Abarth is sort of like Fiat's version of AMG. They take this ordinary, everyday car and inject a bit more venom into them. And with the 500, they did not hold back. This hatch was given stiffer springs and dampers, Brembo discs, and new stickier rubber for maximum fun in the corners. Another car that is way more fun in the corners than outright speed is the Lotus Elise. Simplify and add lightness were the words of Lotus founder Colin Chapman. And no car takes that more seriously than the original Elise. They may be lacking in raw power, but weighing in at just 1,600 pounds. That's like 3 of me. And managing to look small even next to an NA Miata, this is one of the sweetest handling cars ever made. In a world full of safety laws and 1,000+ horsepower electric cars, it's likely that we will never ever see another car, especially a new one, like the Elise again. And its go-kart-like steering and short ratio manual transmission make it that much harder of a pill to swallow that it never came available here in the US. Now, you must have known that this next car would make it on the list. It's one of the most famous Japanese cars ever made and one of the greatest sports cars, period. We are obviously talking about the legendary Nissan Skyline R34 GTR. And most of you probably already know everything that you need to know about the R34 GTR, but this is my video, so I'm gonna tell you again anyway. And the R34 was of course made famous on the big screen in the Fast and Furious movies. And really, our whole generation grew up playing it on Gran Turismo on the PlayStation and the infamous ride of the late Paul Walker, or Brian O'Connor. And the beautiful thing about the GTR is that it wasn't just all show and no go, kind of like your boy. The Skyline GTR really could live up to the hype with its real-world performance. The famed RB26 straight six officially made 276 horsepower straight from the factory, but most of them that were tested actually put out well north of 300 horsepower, and the tuning potential is almost limitless. It's possible to double or even triple that figure if you're brave enough. Now, unfortunately, Nissan never put the R34 through all the required safety tests for the US. The good news is that the 25-year deadline is fast approaching. Ladies and gents, mark your calendars because on January in 2024, you'll be able to legally import them into the US. Or if you simply can't wait that long, just move to Canada, eh? They've been legal since 2014. And while you wait here in the US for the real thing, why not check out the Ideal store and get one step closer to that Bayside blue dream with these cool shirt designs. If you care more about miles per gallon than miles per hour, and at today's gas prices, I wouldn't be surprised that you aren't, our next car is for you. What would you think of if I said that there was a car that was mid-engined, it had 2 doors, it was a coupe, and it was made by Volkswagen? Would you think it was a Lamborghini Huracan or a Bugatti Chiron? Well, it actually is a 0.8 liter diesel hybrid called the Volkswagen XL1. And it's been purely designed to use as little fuel as possible. Boy, does it deliver on that promise. I mean, this thing can go 300 miles on 1 gallon of diesel. Even at today's gas prices, that is an incredible deal. Surprisingly though, it actually uses a lot of supercar tech to achieve this. The whole car is made of carbon fiber. It has a 7-speed dual clutch gearbox, and it was the most aerodynamic car ever made back in 2013. And for the nerds out there, the drag coefficient is 0.189. Volkswagen only built 250 of these eco spaceships, with just 200 being sold to the public, all of which were in Europe. And as cool as the XL1 looks, 70 horsepower just isn't enough for anyone. But luckily, our next car has over 5 times more horsepower. You see, the TVR Sagaris has to be one of the coolest looking cars that's ever been made in the UK. I mean, just look at those sideways exhausts. And it also has the speed to go with that insane styling. Thanks to the 4-liter inline-6 under the hood, you get 400 horsepower and a manual transmission plus rear-wheel drive to make it a truly exciting experience, especially when you consider TVR's questionable reliability and safety. And the folks at TVR have never heard of the world's health or safety. Yeah, Sagaris has no airbags, has no ABS, and no traction control, which easily helped it earn its place as a banned car in America. So, my question to you, are any of these cars good enough to make you say goodbye to the land of the free? Or are you happy to wait that good old 25-year rule? And which one do we think is the idealist on this ideal list? Easy, it's gotta be the Bayside Blue R34, baby. Seriously, January 2024 cannot come soon enough. I think we may buy one before that and store it somewhere, either in Canada or in Japan, and then import it once it's legal. The main reason you would do that is because once they do become legal here and you can sell them legally in the US, prices are going to go to the moon. So let us know in the comments, which one was your idealist? And while you're down there, click the link in the description to learn how to buy your ideal car using the ideal car buying strategies. And check out this video that Squid did about cheap V8 cars for broke boys.
Why do we love V8s? They're balanced, they're reliable. Nah, just kidding, they go vroom vroom.
I'm Brad, this is Ideal, and promise me one thing, keep living the ideal lifestyle.